Okay.
We just missed Randolph.
Ready to go? Good morning. I'm James Van Dyke of the Roxbury Group, and I'm very pleased to join our development partner Invest Detroit in welcoming you to the ribbon cutting ceremony of the Parker Durand. 10 years ago, the then mayoral candidate Mike Duggan came to our office in the Buell building of the Roxbury Group to discuss our experiences developing real estate in the city of Detroit. He ended that meeting with a challenge. How do we encourage developers to take what they've accomplished on projects in Midtown and downtown and focus their efforts on neighborhoods, other neighborhoods in the city? 2 years later, that challenge led to the formation of the Strategic Neighborhood Fund, which, among its other goals, seeks to revitalize our city's commercial corridors by taking underutilized sites and transforming them into properties like the Parker Durand, adding much-needed residential and retail spaces. A key partner in the SNF and our partner on this project is Invest Detroit. There aren't many initiatives in the city where Invest Detroit isn't playing a fundamental role. As their name suggests, that role typically involves utilization of one of their many financing tools, but in many cases they act as a catalyst to a development, bringing together public and private sector to achieve a shared vision. There's probably no better example of that initiative than with the Parker Durand. 6 years ago, Invest Detroit began assembling the 11 parcels that would make up this site, while beginning to identify financing and development partners that could help them realize their vision. A dense, mixed-use project that would go above and beyond the typical affordability objectives while continuing to grow the strength of the Kercheval retail corridor by adding tenant-ready retail spaces like the one we're in today. In the end, that team delivered 92 new residential units, half of which are set at affordable rates at the 80%, 60%, and 50% AMI levels, and over 6,000 square feet of retail, half of which is already leased to local entrepreneurial retailers like Konnected Fitness and Faircloth Boutique next door. None of this could have been possible without our partners. The City of Detroit Planning Department and the Detroit City Council, who supported our effort to rezone all of these parcels. The City of Detroit Housing and Revitalization Department that provided crucial home funding and helped us organize our community engagement effort, which included over 20 meetings with residents, business owners, and neighborhood organizations. Capital Impact Partners, with their partner on this list, who provided our senior loan, continuing its track record of supporting affordable housing in the city. The Michigan Economic Development Corporation, whose loan from its community revitalization program rounded out our capital stack and made this project move forward. And it can't go without mentioning that in addition to leading the charge on the development, Invest Detroit has contributed an additional $6 million in debt and very patient equity funding to ensure that this project is successful. I'd also like to thank our construction partner here, O'Neill Construction. We're joined today by Tim Stout and Will Gordon, who had a very challenging task trying to develop this residential project through a pandemic. And they were successful getting us to the finish line just this last month. And now I'd like to invite Mayor Duggan to say a few words on behalf of the City of Detroit.
All right. Well, congratulations to everybody involved. I drive by this site every day on my way home and have been watching it and waiting for this day for a long time. And my first few years, people would say to me, you've forgotten about the neighborhoods, all these big projects getting built in downtown and midtown. And I'd say, you'll know Detroit is really in recovery when you see major housing investment in the neighborhoods. And to see 92 brand new units built and opened at the corner of Van Dyke and Kercheval reflects a different day in our recovery. And I just think about how far we've come. A little before I got elected, City Council sold about 1,000 lots a little bit east of here to a fellow by the name of John Hance to plant trees. And I was running for office at the time, and when I saw it, I was shocked, and I went over to the neighborhood and talked to the neighbors, and I was more shocked to find that most of the neighbors who live there supported it. And they said, with all the illegal dumping, with all the abandoned houses, trees will be an upgrade. And it was heartbreaking to think, what's happened to the east side of Detroit that the neighbors feel so hopeless that they want to see woods return? John Hance did what he said he was going to do, took care of that, did a fine job, but it allowed us, right from my first day, to say, we're going to concentrate down in this area because this was a great neighborhood. It's going to be a great neighborhood again. And so I see Dave Blaskowitz hiding in the back along with Dave DeRita and Stacy Fox, who had so much to do with this. But we said, we're going to invest in Kercheval and build this streetscape. All these storefronts, as you drive down and see occupied, you came down here 5 or 6 years ago, those were all covered with plywood. Those were all empty storefronts. You see up and down these streets, neighbors investing in their homes in vacant houses, turning into occupied houses. And if you haven't seen our plans for Butzel Park, there's $1.5 million rebuild in that park next door, adjacent to the rec center and the school. We really believed that this was a great neighborhood, could be a great neighborhood again. And today, now you're going to get a chance to meet the entrepreneur who's actually opening yet another business where we are standing today, Konnected Fitness. But we're going to just keep going. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that made it possible. So the Roxbury Group, Invest Detroit, that's been such a great partner on everything, Capital Impact, who's been there side by side on so many of these projects. Governor Whitmer of the state of Michigan, Michelle Wildman, Detroit's great friend, is here today. I don't know how many different projects that she has helped us in. And of course, the great job being done by the staff at the Detroit Housing and Revitalization Department. But this is what true recovery looks like. And at this point, I'm really pleased to introduce the person who created the Affordable Housing Ordinance that created a fund, because half of these units are going to be set aside for affordable housing. So there will be people of all incomes living in these 92 units, which is exactly what we expect in all neighborhoods of the city. And she has the added benefit of being the council member from this district, who's been enormously supportive. Please welcome Council President Mary Sheffield.
Thank you. And good morning to everyone here, to Invest Detroit, to the Roxbury Group, to Mayor Duggan, Reverend Barry, who is always great to see you. If we have you here, we know we're doing a good job, you know. We have the community support as well. But today is a great day. Congratulations to everyone. There's no secret at all about my passion for affordable housing. And I set out, you know, when I first made it to council back in 2013, to create an ordinance that ensures that in all new development that we set aside at least 20% of the units for affordable housing. I'm actually really pleased to hear that this project goes above and beyond just 80% area median income, and actually goes down to 50% AMI as well too, which is what I advocated for. And to see it happen, I think just reassures all of us that it can be done. We're reaching Detroiters from all different types of incomes, and really the greatest need in Detroit is at the 50% area median income. So thank you for your commitment to that. Another issue that I'm passionate about is small businesses, and I've heard the commitment here. We're in a local Detroit-based business right now, and the continued development of this project is going to ensure that additional local entrepreneurs have access to this space, which is important to not only me, but the entire city council. So congratulations to everyone involved. This is what Detroiters have been asking for. We want investment in our communities, and not only just investment, but investment that ensures that Detroiters have access to it, and this does that. And so thank you for aligning with the vision of so many Detroiters, myself, and the entire city council. Congratulations to you all, and I'm looking forward to what this project is going to bring to this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Council President Sheffield. I'd now like to bring to the podium my day-to-day partner on this project, Marcia Ventura. She really deserves the lion's share of the credit for getting this over the finish line. She kept our financing on track in pre-development, and when any issues arose during the development project, she was quick to jump in and help solve problems with me. So, Marcia, would you like to say a few words for Invest Detroit?
Hi, it's a great honor for me today to represent Invest Detroit and to celebrate the grand opening or the ribbon cutting for this project. As James mentioned, this project started 6 years ago. And the land was vacant land at the time that we acquired it. And that was, you know, the strategic neighborhood was in the planning phases before this, but it really had just been funded. We had just funded the funds with actual money, so we could use some of those funds to actually acquire this land. But we didn't know. It was a strategic acquisition, and we didn't know what was going to be here. And we had to figure out, you know, what it was we were going to build. And we, in developing the strategic neighborhood, the key word there is neighborhood, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we got neighborhood feedback and input into what we built here. And as James mentioned, we had numerous meetings with the local neighborhood during the design phase. And the design phase took about a year to go through all the various stages of design. And we engaged very heavily with at least, we had multiple meetings, but we engaged very heavily with 9 strategic stakeholders in the neighborhood. And through every phase of the design, we got their feedback and we got input on how they felt about various design elements. And so we credit them with, you know, the way this kind of ended up fitting so well into the neighborhood. I mean, you drive up and it just fits. It's the right size, it's the right color, it's the right shape, you know, all the various design elements are really quite outstanding, will be a great addition to this neighborhood. And we at Invest Detroit, our goal or our primary role in the Strategic Neighborhood Initiative is creating commercial downtowns in the various neighborhoods, you know, redeveloping commercial corridors for walkability, access to goods and services that the community wants and desires. And so this is a prime example, and we're very pleased with the way this turned out, as it will house some local entrepreneurs. That's also one of our key goals in the whole city, but in the strategic neighborhood as well. We're pleased because of our partnership with Capital Impact and the type of financing that they could offer. It allowed us to put in, as Councilwoman Sheffield mentioned, more affordable housing than is typically available because we have this financing. So we are going to be able to provide housing here, new and very state-of-the-art housing, at income levels that the neighborhood can afford. And really, we can't exceed 120% of area median income, which means that everybody who lives here can afford to work and live in the neighborhood, which is really important to create housing for people who are already here. So as we mentioned, that this took us 6 years, right? So what did we do for 6 years? Well, let me just summarize what we did. I talked about we had to decide, and we did community engagement, but I would really like to call out my colleague Maureen Onway, who was instrumental in leading all these community outreach events. Really, without her, we wouldn't have gotten the good feedback that we did. Our architects, Hamilton Anderson, thank you for your effort in creating this wonderful building. And shout out to another colleague of mine, Nate Barnes, who attended all the design meetings and provided feedback to us and to the group. Can't go forward without mentioning our friends at AKT Environmental. This was a former gas station on the corner, and we all know how challenging that can make redevelopment. So they've been instrumental in helping us through the remediation and reporting process. Also want to call out Eagle. Our friends at Eagle have been incredibly responsive. They don't always give us the answer we're looking for, but they're incredibly, incredibly responsive, and they've really helped us keep our testing and remediation on schedule, and we are very grateful for their assistance. And they've also provided us, quite frankly, some creative solutions and some creative workarounds. So thanks to Eagle, and then also, as James mentioned, O'Neill Construction. But really, this project has been a partnership with Roxbury, and we've been working together for 6 years. And we're still talking to each other, so that's a good thing, right? Because we've run into a couple of little snags here and there, as most projects do. So they've just been wonderful to work with and have been a good leader through the process. But also the city. The city has been a wonderful partner in this whole endeavor. And in Detroit, really, we are a very collaborative community, and we work together very well. And the city has been just really supportive, as Mayor Duggan has said. Would like to sort of give a shout out to the Housing and Revitalization Department, Kelly Vickers and Jason Friedman, who are always just a phone call away if we had problems or we needed some help on different issues. And then also the city, I just wanted to call out the city's work on the beautiful streetscape that's gone in out here. The city has, in the strategic neighborhoods, has gone through and planned these lovely streetscapes. They've implemented a few, this being one of them. And it's really making the area, the streets more inviting, walkable, accessible to movement of all kinds, right? And we wouldn't really be here today, lastly, without thanking our financing partners. It takes the money to build the project. So thanks to Capital Impact Partner and their partner, LISC. A huge thanks to MEDC and for their support through the Community Vitalization Program. And also, again, to the city for allocation of some home dollars into this project. This project is a shining example of how the community writ large comes together to make positive change for its residents an example of how Invest Detroit is striving to create thriving neighborhood commercial corridors as its contribution to the Strategic Neighborhood Initiative. We have gained much knowledge and experience as a result of this project, and the Strategic Neighborhood Fund has evolved into future phases, gaining momentum by adding participants, programs, and neighborhoods that will benefit due in part to the working relationships established through this project. Today we celebrate this project and what it adds to this neighborhood for years to come, and we thank the whole community for making the project a reality.
Thank you, Marcia. And now representing the senior lending group, I'd like to introduce Ian Wiesner of Capital Impact Partners. And Capital Impact is another one of those groups that's been working in the city of Detroit for now over a decade. They were our lender on our first project with Invest Detroit, the Auburn, at a little-known corner called Cass and Canfield in Midtown. Looks much different in that corridor now since their support of that project 10 years ago. And they're still at it today, supporting projects across the city. Ian?
Thank you, James, and good morning, everyone. Capital Impact is proud to be standing with so many of our partners here in supporting this project. As James mentioned, we just celebrated our 10th anniversary of working in the city. And when we started this work, the idea of a new affordable housing development at this scale and outside of downtown seemed almost inconceivable. But as James mentioned, we were partnering with Roxbury and Invest Detroit and LISC at the very first project we did, the Auburn, 10 years ago after the Great Recession. And the fact that we're standing here today with many of the very same partners, but in a very different context, is a big part of the reason that Capital Impact has now invested more than $300 million in the city of Detroit. In this neighborhood alone, Capital Impact provided financing not only for this project, but for the Garland Building directly across the street, for the Co Building, and for Detroit Prep Elementary. Together, those projects totaled more than $35 million of investment. But more importantly, it's more than 100 units of housing, many of those units affordable, more than 10 units of small business space like the one we're in this morning, and more than 400 public school seats, all within about 1 mile of each other. That's the kind of work Capital Impact is doing in the city of Detroit and that we will continue to do. And before I go, I do want to give a quick shout out to my colleague Nick Pohl, who couldn't be here today, but was the driving force behind Capital Impact's participation in this transaction, as well as many others around the city, and really should be the one up here today. So thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Now representing the City of Detroit's Housing and Revitalization Department, Kelly Vickers. Again, as I mentioned and as Marcia mentioned, they were a great champion of this project from the early stages and really helped shepherd us through the process. So Kelly, you say a few words from HRD, please.
Good morning. I'm Kelly Vickers with the Housing and Revitalization Department. And on behalf of HRD, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today to celebrate the opening of Parker Durand. The Housing and Revitalization Department works to increase quality of life in Detroit neighborhoods through investments in affordable housing and community development. A key piece of that work we do is to ensure that Detroit builds back. There will be opportunity for people of all incomes and backgrounds in new developments like Parker Durand. HRD did this by working with the developers to close on a financing deal and providing $1.5 million in home investment dollars for this project. This type of development can help catalyze activity in the neighborhood, and we are thrilled to celebrate the completion of this building. Not only does this bring new housing at rates as low as 50% of area median income, but it replaces a giant vacant lot in the heart of the neighborhood and creates a number of new retail opportunities for small business owners. That is what the Strategic Neighborhood Fund is all about, creating affordable quality places to live, reinvigorating commercial corridors, and doing so equitably. It takes a lot of work and coordination between many partners to make developments like this a reality. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the efforts of many people and organizations that helped make this possible. So thank you to the HRD team that worked on this, Jason Friedman, Larry Katrinar, DeMarco Ansari, Josh Bales, Naomi Beasley Porter, and Larry Cade. Additional thanks to the development team, Roxbury Group, and Invest Detroit, as well as the city's Planning and Development Department and our financing partners at Capital Impact and the MEDC. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kelly. And now I'd like to bring to the podium Michelle Wildman of the MEDC. As has been mentioned time and time again, the MEDC, through its creative incentivized financing programs, have made so many projects in the state of Michigan happen. And just about every project that I've been a part of, or we've been a part of in the state of Detroit, has had the MEDC in a very crucial role. So, Michelle, would you like to say a few words, please?
Thank you, and thanks for having me. First, I want to start by offering my congratulations to the development team and partners that made this project possible. Roxbury, Invest Detroit, our community partner, the City of Detroit, the mayor and Kelly and their team, as well as the many long list of others, Capital Impact. We know that it truly takes an army, especially to do a project like this in the midst of a pandemic, a true testament to the collaboration that we know and that Brittany and I are fortunate to get to work with in Detroit. So my congratulations. At the MEDC, we are committed to transformative projects such as these, which help to create vibrant and resilient communities and neighborhoods throughout Michigan. And this project truly embodies our commitment to that innovative placemaking work that enables economic prosperity, while simultaneously tackling really critical issues like access to affordable housing for Detroit families and support for Michigan entrepreneurs and small businesses. So this is really a really shining example, and to add to that a love for me, a personal passion on taking something that's blighted and dilapidated and contaminated in this case, and having the vision and creativity and frankly stick-to-itedness to continue on the what we know is a really long journey. So it's why we were pleased to support this with our tools. I'd be remiss if I didn't take a minute to thank our federal and state officials for their continued support for the MEDC and the tools that really enable this work. I don't know, it's kind of a big room. I know we were supposed to have somebody, maybe Khari from Senator Peters' office. Hi. Right in front, as well as Caprice Jackson from Brenda Lawrence. So thank you both for your continued support, and to all the other partners that made this possible. And I look forward to many future opportunities to see the potential come to life that exists within Detroit neighborhoods. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Michelle. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Pastor Barry Randolph to join me at the podium. He was, again, another early champion of ours in our effort to redevelop this site, going all the way to having allowing us to host a cookout at his church following a Sunday service, which was a lot of fun. So, Pastor Barry, would you like to come up and say a few words on behalf of the Church of Messiah?
Thank you, Jared. Just want to say part of the reason why we supported this project was originally when Maureen Anway came to me, and we were at a community meeting, and she said, "Oh, Pastor Barry, we know that you do housing development, and we've been doing housing development for almost 45 years in Islandview." And she said, "I need you to move a house." And I said, "We're used to building houses. I don't know how to move a house." She said, "There's a house, we want to do this development on Kirchhoff and Van Dyke, but there's a house in the way." So I went back to our housing corporation. I said, "Hey, do anybody know how to move a house? There's a new development coming that could be very beneficial towards bringing equitable housing to the community and neighborhood." And lo and behold, the historical house did get moved. Although we didn't move it, it did get moved, and that's why we're standing here today. So I just want to say that we stand in support of this. Anything that brings more affordable housing to the community and neighborhood is what we do. That's all we do is affordable housing. And when this project came and talked about affordable housing, it went beyond the call of duty of being able to do that. So we held a community gathering in support of this, and they held many other community gatherings. It's all about the community and development coming together to say we're going to stand together to revitalize the city of Detroit. So I just want to say hats off to Roxbury, to Invest Detroit, and you couldn't have picked a better neighborhood than Islandview. God is good.
Thank you, Pastor. And now I'd like to introduce the true host of today's event, Khari Dickey, who has just opened this beautiful space, Konnected Fitness, and is one of our hopefully 3, in the end, local retailers that are providing great services for the residents above here, but also in the community. So, Khari, would you like to say a few words, please?
Good morning. Hello, everyone. My name is Khari Dickey, and I am the owner of Konnected Fitness. Our mission is to help you to connect with your best self through fitness. As a District 5 resident, I had the opportunity to walk past this space many times in the past 2 years. I walked past it when it was a brush field with a sign. I walked past it when the bones of the building went up. I walked past it as well when the windows were placed. When I took my tour of the Parker Durand, it was still in phases of construction, and I walked on dirt floor. The spaces were still being mapped out, and at this point in my life, as well as in the journey of Konnected Fitness, I've had to exercise my skill in seeing the unseen and having faith that things will happen even before you can see them. So fast forward to today, we stand in Konnected Fitness within the Parker Durand in this beautiful space. The space doesn't just have the intention of being a gym. It is supposed to be a place where anyone who walks through those doors can have the opportunity to focus on increasing their strength and conditioning, pain reduction, and injury prevention, and an improvement of their overall quality of life. I would like to thank Roxbury Group, Invest Detroit, and all involved for believing in the mission and vision of Konnected Fitness and allowing it to align with your own. I would also like to thank Mayor Duggan, state representatives, members of City Council, and all other local and state government for attending, as well as family and friends. Your presence is appreciated. I am so excited for Konnected Fitness to be housed within the Parker Durand, and I'm even more excited to have the opportunity to fill this space with services that help the community to connect with their best self through fitness. Thank you.
Thanks, Khari. Beautiful words. We're really happy to have her here. So now that concludes our formal remarks. We'd like to invite everyone to join us outside for the ribbon cutting in front of the lobby, so just to the east of here. We're going to allow the cameras a few moments to go sit up there. Feel free to grab a coffee and a treat provided by our friends from Sister Pie across the street. After the ceremony outside, also feel free to come back in, enjoy the space some more, but also we've got our team from Center City Properties here ready to give tours of the model up on the 3rd floor and show some of the beautiful work on the residential side. So thank you all for joining, and we'll see you outside.